Once upon a time, in a quiet mountain village untouched by time, there stood a humble guest house at the edge of a forest. The guest house was run by an old man named Master Koji. He rarely spoke, but his eyes held the calm of someone who had lived 100 lives. Travelers came from distant lands, pilgrims, merchants, poets, and always left with more than just rest. They left with a part of themselves they didn't know they had lost, or perhaps found. One stormy evening, a young man arrived. He was sharp, educated, confident, perhaps too confident. He carried scrolls of knowledge, wore fine robes, and looked around the modest guest house with a trace of disappointment. "Is this all?" he asked. Master Koji simply smiled and nodded. "It is enough." Irritated, the young man said, "I have read the scriptures, studied the masters, debated with monks. I came here to learn something deeper. Do you even teach?" Koji replied, "Yes, but only to those who can empty their cup." The young man scoffed. "I am already full of wisdom." "Exactly," said Koji, pouring tea into the young man's cup, and then continuing to pour until the tea spilled over. "Stop!" cried the young man. "The cup is overflowing." Koji looked up. "And so are you. How can anything new enter a mind that believes it knows everything?" The storm outside seemed to pause. The rain softened, and something inside the young man, perhaps for the first time, became still. That night he couldn't sleep. He sat on the porch, listening to the rain tapping gently on the leaves. He thought of all his years chasing titles, trying to win arguments, craving recognition. And in that silence, he began to realize peace isn't found by conquering the world. It's found by surrendering the need to conquer. The next morning he approached Master Koji and bowed deeply. "Teach me," he said softly. Koji handed him a broom. "Begin by sweeping the path. The dust outside is the same as the dust within." Days turned to weeks. The young man stopped quoting scriptures and started watching the sunrise. He no longer spoke to prove a point, but to share warmth. And one day, as he swept the steps in silence, he smiled. For the first time, his cup was empty. And in that emptiness, he felt full. Moral true wisdom begins where ego ends. Empty your cup. Empty your mind. And life will pour in its own quiet magic.